welcome into the 2024 Jewel School Workshop. I'm Susan Thomas.
And I'm Tony Thompson.
And guess what?
Jewel School Workshop time.
Yes. We're going to be teaching you guys a really cool class. Actually, I say we, and I mean mostly him. Because we're going to be doing stone setting today, which I'm really excited about. So, hey, listen, there's lots and lots of Jewel School workshops this year. We're all online, so you guys have opportunities to see so many more instructors and learn so many more skills. And that's kind of why we were able to do this class.
Right.
You know, I mean, stone setting is as an advanced skill, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yes, I believe so.
I mean, maybe not for you.
Well, it took a while.
Fair, but it's a more advanced skill. So listen, join us for all the workshops. I've taught 3 other workshops besides this one, so you guys are welcome to check out those. I did 2 bangles and a ring, and then a secret class that nobody knows about. I added one in. And then also, of course, we've got our in-house streamers like Laura Graham and Katie Smith. And then we have Laura Gasparini and Rita Panula and Sandra Younger and all kinds of new Jewel School instructors to teach you all kinds of great classes this year. So the 2024 workshop is really big stuff.
That's a lot. Wow.
Now, if you don't know Tony, maybe they don't know you.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
He is the current director of the jewelry shop here at JTV.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have, we've got a great staff. We've got 10 jewelers on staff and myself. And we do about maybe 64,000 repairs throughout the year, and or of some type of repair setting or sizing or something jewelry repair setting, custom related,
Yeah.
And so it's been here for going on 14 years.
14 years. Amazing. Now, you're really quite talented, in my opinion. Now, if you guys don't know, Tony and I are actually engaged. He made my ring. We'll show the ring, right? We might as well. Sure. Show the ring. This is one of his pieces right here, set with a sapphire from the Rock Creek Mine in Montana, which is kind of cool. So Montana sapphire. And it's just obviously a gorgeous piece of jewelry. And it just kind of, I think it epitomizes what Tony Thompson could do as a custom jeweler. Now, but you also are our current Artisan of the South here. Yes. That is the name of the line of jewelry that you created here for JTV. And we have a streaming show. We're actually on hiatus right now. I'm going to go through rotations, and we're off right now. But we will be back with our streaming show, which, of course, is called
Artisan of the South.
Artisan of the South. But if you want to check out any of the jewelry, like I have a couple of the Southern Stack series on right now. If you guys want to check out any of that jewelry, you can always check out our Instagram page, which is also called Artisan of the South. We like to keep it, really consistent. And then also, if you go on jtv.com, you can check out some of Tony's pieces. You just basically, if you type in SSO, those are the beginning numbers of all of our pieces. There, if you just type in SSO, it'll pull up all the Artisan of the South pieces, and you can see some of the custom pieces that Tony has made. Now, a lot of them are already sold out, but there are still some of the Southern Stack series. There are a few solitaire pendants.
There's a few items.
There's a few items in there. I think if that Spectrotite heart ring is still there, that's a really good, that's kind of an exciting piece. Don't you have a tendency to hide secrets, like special custom elements in your designs?
From time to time, yes.
There's always something special that you can find in a Tony Thompson design. Okay, so anyway, we've talked about you for a long time, but I really want them to know that, you are actually a certified GIA jeweler, and you graduated with a degree in jewelry manufacturing arts, right?
Correct.
1996.
96. That's a day or two ago.
We should have changed that up.
We should have.
We said 2006.
2000, or a few years back.
Yeah. Back. Anyway, we want to get started teaching you guys how to make these rings, how to set stones.
Yes.
And
we made up. I actually designed a little mounting for you guys on the CAD machine. We produced several pieces in house, and we've got a few different oval-shaped stones for you to set. They're all in silver. I think we're going to do a few different size options for you, and we're going to set them here today.
Yeah, we'll
show you how to do it, and kind of show you what we have, and talk through kind of the process of making the items for you.
So let's talk about what we have and what they're going to get. You guys can actually order all the supplies to do this right online. There's going to be a link right in this class for you to get everything. Many of you may have already pre-ordered the supplies. I don't know who's watching right now or who's ordered them, but they are available in different sizes, which is kind of cool because, but you said, we created, and what he meant was he designed this ring. So the cool thing about this, to me, the whole thing is that you're actually getting a Tony Thompson original design. This is actually just the CAD drawing, just so you can see where it came from out of Tony's head into the computer and now into your hands.
That's amazing.
But you designed it with the pre-notched setting, right?
Yes.
To make it easier for them to.
Easier for everyone to set. It's kind of handy as a jeweler too, to have some kind of a notch kind of as a guide to get you level. In the past you wouldn't really have that, so you'd have to
cut your own
notches to get it level and eye it. So having the slight notches is really nice. These I have more of a notch all the way down the prong and for the pavilion to set into. So it kind of helps you kind of guide, a little extra guiding.
Well, because stone setting, like we said, advanced skill, but there's things that can be done that make it a little bit easier, especially for a beginner. So these are just some of the settings. Some of them are not polished, some of them are polished. You're going to get a polished one, and I think it's kind of cool that you brought this little piece right here.
Yeah. So that's a button from the casting. So we to start out, I think we cast maybe 6 or 7. You can see each of these little branches had a ring attached to it. So you print the resin, which is a polymer wax type material, plastic, and then we sprue it onto this base. All of this is wax to start with, and/or resin. And you stick your rings on, so you'll have, there'll be kind of a ring here and a ring off of this one and off of this one. So
cool.
It's pretty cool. And then you take that resin and the plastic and put it inside a metal sleeve and put investment in, and then you get the bubbles out of the investment with a vacuum machine, and then you take and put it inside an oven, and it melts out the resin and or the wax and leaves a hollow cavity of this. The rings are still on it at that time, and then you melt the gold, inject the gold, vacuum the gold up into the mounting. And this was silver, so it was silver.
Yeah.
And then once you have that, you clean off the investment, cut your rings off.
You got like a tree of rings.
You have a tree of rings.
Yes.
And I believe we have I believe I took a video of the actual making of the CAD on this process.
Good.
Yeah, so you guys
are going to get to see
can see some of that.
Yes.
And I don't know that I did the casting, but that's what that is. That's a tree from a cast.
Anyway, so bonus, you're getting a design, a piece of jewelry that was designed by Tony Thompson. So you're getting an original design, a kind of a custom.
Yeah.
Actually, it's custom.
It is custom.
A custom design, and you're learning
made in house.
Yeah, to set stones as well. I love it. I just think it's really neat. Everything's sterling silver, so you're getting precious metals. Now, in addition to the actual ring setting with the pre-notched setting here, you're also going to get a set of stones, correct?
Correct.
So that's what you guys are, whatever, with the link we have goes to a set of 5, I think it's 5 stones.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a garnet, a peridot, a couple amethyst, and actually, I think
just
it's
one of each.
Yes.
Yes.
And then this blue, is that blue topaz?
Topaz.
So you'll have options, and I think the reason why you picked this particular set was because all stones aren't created equal.
Correct. And having this set, having 5 stones to pick from, as a jeweler, if you guys have set stones, if you're not a jeweler, but
It's okay.
to try to set a stone, sometimes the pavilion on some stones are bulged out really wide. Some may have a millimeter girdle, and some may have a 1/2 millimeter girdle or 2/10 millimeter girdle, the border around the outside edge. All that affects how the stones fit in the mounting. So having
that's an important. That was kind of important because before we get to the tools and our magnification, I want you to talk through the anatomy of a stone, because people just think that any 5x8 or 8x10 stone, like we have 8x10 stones here, will fit into a ring, but that's not necessarily true.
The case.
And so what's a girdle? What are all these things? These are things you have to know if you're going to be setting stones, because not every 8x10 stone you come across is going to fit in this ring, correct?
Correct.
You want to put it in a little millimeter thing or millimeter mic there?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if that
or
helps you.
tweezers.
Oh, tweezers.
What do you
I
mean
forgot the
tweezers in here?
Top drawer behind me. Andrew's in my ear. He said we have tweezers. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put one in this guy.
Okay. Fair.
And then I'll try to hold on to this one without flipping it across the room.
That's how it always happens to me. I always flip them.
So,
Okay.
so both of these stones, I believe these are 10 by 12s, right? So the diameter is very close to the same, within, 0.2 of a millimeter, I believe, is our tolerance. Something to
So
that.
technical.
Oh, very technical.
Yeah.
So this one on your left, I guess, is a garnet, and the others is citrine. And the girdles are what kind of goes around the edge of the stone, right? The border
Oh, okay.
is the girdle, right? And I don't know if I'm holding this still enough for Andrew to video, or if you can actually tell if one girdle is thicker than the other. It looks like to me
The depth of the stones is definitely different.
Yeah, I was gonna get
The girdle and the garnet maybe just a hair thicker.
thicker.
Yeah.
But the girdle, it looks like it's, that makes a big difference. How the stone sets in the mounting. Sometimes the girdle on one side of the stone will be a millimeter thick, and on the other side it could be down to 0.2 of a millimeter, just depending on the cutting.
So that could be.
And that affects how the stone lays in your setting. And then the pavilion, as you mentioned, and on these two stones, you can really tell. It's how shallow the garnet is.
Right. So the pavilion is the depth of
The
the stone.
pavilion's the depth from the girdle to the kill line or the culet point. And that affects how the stone sets in the mounting. So with these 5 stones, you have all of those issues to deal with as a stone setter.
So
and this kind of gives you an option.
maybe your number one skill is going to be evaluating the stone before you put it in this ring.
I believe so. That will save you on the other end of completing your setting.
Now, the other thing that you noticed, you talked about the culet, and that was the tip of the stone down there.
Right.
So the size from the crown down to the culet could also make a difference in whether it fits into the setting.
For sure. Or if it gets to the finger or fills it in. And that's why we kind of, when I made these, I cut out enough, and for the most part, you can fit these in here. Now, some are going to be hard, so don't try to, if you don't have enough, say if this is your crown angle, or the girdle, and this is your prong, if the stone's setting way up here, you're not going to have enough prong to bend it over.
Right.
So you need to pick a stone that gives you some space to be able to bend the prong over.
So your first task as a new stone setter is to set every single one of those stones in there and see which one.
Yes.
I mean, I think
yes,
it's important.
Just place.
Which ones are going to work? Just placement, making sure that those stones are actually seriously, it can make a huge difference. And so if you're thinking, I can't do this because you used a stone that had that was too deep from the crown to the culet, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's the stone. And is that a bad stone? No, you just need to find a different setting for it, or maybe it needs a custom setting, but it's not going to work in that particular setting.
Not without tools. As a jeweler, we've got burrs, tools, setting burrs, ball burrs, what you might need. You can set the stone in for placement, get an idea of what you need to do, and you just carry that seat down further.
I see.
Just adjust where the stone's at. Right.
That's the next class.
That's a different class with some more different tools and extra.
We'd have to have like a
flex shafts
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
in
and
here
extra
to do
tools.
that.
So,
but this is to me like a really good. This is seriously the only. I mean, you're a really good stone setter. I'm really good at setting stones that have a pre-notch setting and picking stones that fit in them. That's pretty much, I mean, I can do the other, but I don't have the patience or to me, the skill that a skilled jeweler has to actually cut out those notches. I'm sure if I did it every day, I could get there, but it's just not something that I do on a regular basis. So you guys may never get to that point. You may always be the pre-notch setting champion like me. And that's fine. That's okay. You're just going to have to be more selective about your stones.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, but we're going to get you started here. So let's go through the tools that you have here because it really doesn't require a lot of tools. I feel like this is great for a beginner who's just wanting to get into stone setting.
Yeah, because we've got it to the point you're just placing the stone and pretty much bending over the prongs.
Got it.
So I have a few tools here. The chain nose plier is very common for setting stones. Probably the most common tool we have and use. Some modifications I like to do to some of my chain nose pliers. I like to have the inside polished. Any tool you touch on the metal or a ring, and if it's rough or has indentions in it, it's going to leave leave a mark on the piece, you know, on the prong, on the back side of the ring. And even on this guy here, I use this. This is modified. It wasn't just a regular chain nose plier. See how the walls of this one, well, the inside of that, but see how it's rounded?
Yeah.
So I round it off, and I grab this guy lots of times. And so the rounded off side, I use it on the inside of the ring, right?
Yes.
To hold the back side of the prong, the inside of the ring.
Oh, smart.
So it's fixed to the contour of the ring because it's round and fits your finger. If you use a flat plier on the inside, it's going to leave marks on the inside to clean up. Having that rounded, I mean, that's a little game changer.
Yeah.
That's for setting stones.
That's
Right.
pretty cool. So you actually modified that yourself. Now,
Yeah,
if I don't have a modified one, obviously I could just use the standard.
You can just use the standard, and this guy's standard. It's, you know, I've got mine polished on the top side and the bottom as well. But
Yeah.
so, you know, bam, bam, like that.
Yeah.
Right. We also have, this is a modification I use a lot. I'm giving away some little secrets.
Secret tips here. I love it.
So this is a pair. I don't know if many of you guys know what these are, but they're little.
Monkey wrench?
Well,
No.
these are ignition pliers. So it's like a little miniature monkey wrench or adjustable wrench. See that?
Yeah.
So when you buy these, they're grooved with plier notches. I take and polish out the inside and put a couple little notches. See that little notch, two directions? And see how polished we are? Right? These guys come in handy for all kinds, because you can get the different lengths, and you kind of wind up with a parallel plier. You can get these and you're parallel as you're working. So it kind of holds it in place. And then having these little grooves inside there really help to keep the prong where you want it. And it's a nice modification. They're ignition pliers. You can buy them tool supply place, and if you want to modify, that's kind of a little further along.
Well, but you're making me think about pliers that I know we have online on JewelSchool.com or JTV.com. We actually have parallel chain nose pliers on there.
Oh, there.
Yeah, and they're polished on the inside.
On the
so that
inside.
would they don't have your special notches. However, they are there.
But they're there.
It kind of brings us to this next tool. That this is the tool I always use when I'm setting stones, because it basically solves all kinds of problems.
Yeah, this guy is a parallel plier, and it's really controlled the amount of pressure and the tension and how far it closes by these little control knobs up here. So you can open it up to get to a larger, spacing you need. And then when you pull down, see, it's just going to slide them out. And as you put tension on it, it's not like you go too much. You can't go past and close it and scratch your ring. And these are amazing. The parallel part of it and the control you have and the adjustments. These they're slightly pricey, but they're
too bad though.
They're not too bad.
I don't know how much they are now, because I've had mine for a long time. But I just like it because it saves me from myself. One thing that you guys will find as you're setting these stones, if we're getting ready to do that, and we're going to do it with the chain nose plier, but it takes some patience and skill to not over bend your prong. Do you bend one?
Right. You bend a little and look a lot. Work, you bend the slide amount on this prong. You don't want to go all the way at once, because it's going to be bad. So
that's something to remember. Bend a little, look a lot.
Yes.
That's a Tony Thompson saying. That is it. It is very important, and I think it's a really easy to remember thing. So if you're thinking you're just going to go boom, 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 all in order, and it's going to work, you're wrong. So bend a little, look a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and show them the setting of the stone in there, how you place it, and get to bending some prongs.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll put some glasses on so I can see.
Yes. Oh, by the way, we do have optivisors as well.
Yep.
So if you guys need a little extra magnification.
Magnification is always, and you can even do you could do the double. Before,
yes.
I think it's really nice.
It looks good.
It works great. This used to be my go-to before we got microscopes in the shop. The relief microscopes.
And this is like when you were a baby when you were doing that. So
oh yeah.
The magnification's for old people. It is not. When
no.
When you're close, you need magnification.
Yes.
Yes.
Or these optivisors, all kinds of good things nowadays to use.
I like it.
So what you want to get your stones, your ring. And like we were talking earlier, some of these stones don't really work in the mounting without some adjustment. Some may be a little bit too small and fall way down there. I believe this little garnet, the one that I showed you earlier, it's very shallow. If I can get him in there level. And you see how low
He's
it is.
way down in there.
He's kind of falling down in between the notches and he's not wanting to stay straight for me.
So that would be a harder stone to set.
That would be a harder stone to set because he's falling down inside the notches we cut out, and it's very shallow. So I'd probably, even if garnet's your favorite color, it's not going to be your favorite piece when you're finished.
Doesn't mean your garnet's going to be like that, because every single one of these sets is a little bit different. So your garnet might be like the perfect one for you. So,
right.
But this is your first step. You're basically inspecting the ring and inspecting the stone.
A lot of times I'll set, a good technique is to set the stone in upside down. Put the table down first. Okay, so upside down is a great technique for figuring out where your placement for stones will be, and kind of knowing that see this guy's laying down there and he's set upside down, but you see the girdle and kind of how level it is for the most part, right? So the girdle is going to set right where you would like it to be, right? Okay. So there's no interference with the girdle and the touching of the prong.
Okay.
So then if you take and turn him over, and it's pretty much still good, right? It's still down in there. You can tell it's higher than it was, which means the pavilion is kind of touching your upper gallery on the ring. So as a jeweler, you have to go in there and cut that out with a tool so the stone can go down slightly lower.
I see.
Right.
Yes.
The pavilion's what's holding it up. So this one's a little bit too high. You see how you don't quite have enough prong. Sorry, Andy, here. You don't quite have enough prong to bend over. Right. You could probably get it, but I think I'd find one that's a little.
So this may seem tedious. It's not going to take you guys as long once you learn how to do it. But we just want to make sure we walk you through, because I think your most important step is what happens before you actually bend down the prongs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You need
inspection
and get the right stone in this case.
All right. So you picked the right one. I thought you had one that you liked.
I did. I think I like this guy here. Okay. This is the other blue one.
I love the little blue topaz. Beautiful stone.
Yeah, I think this guy, see, it sets down slightly lower than the last one. I believe we can work with it.
And I will tell you that in my past as a notched stone setter, I used to set these little mother's rings.
Right.
And they would have 2 or 3 or 4 little tiny settings, and they were all pre-notched on there. I would prefer to have a shallower stone than a thicker stone. Like if the crown from the culet was more shallow, it was easier for me
to set it,
to deal with, than one that was taller, because the whole ball burr thing and there's so much room for error there. So and to me it almost requires a lot more magnification and also patience, which is not my strong suit. Well, I can't help it. I don't know. So it's inspected. Anyway, he says, look a lot. What is it? Say the saying again. Say it again.
Work a little, look a lot.
Work a little, look a lot. Is that what it is? Okay.
Well, no, you got me all discounted.
I didn't mean to. Sorry. Okay, what's next?
I'll try to hold the ring up here so you guys can see what's going on. And I like to be able to look through the ring where you can kind of see the table of the stone and your prongs and make sure everything's sort of level. So I'm left-handed, so I'm not sure if that's going to mess you guys up or not, but so I've got the ring here. I'm going to pull my pliers up. These are chain nose pliers. I'm kind of holding the back side of this opposite prong. I'm going to work on this one over here, right? So let me adjust the ring here. So I'm going to try to hold the back of this guy, and I'm going to pull this other one over just ever so slightly. See, like that? See how much everything moved? Even the stone moved, and it just barely went over this guy. Just barely moved over, right?
Yes.
So now we're going to work opposite. So I'm going to turn the ring around for my viewing. And now I'm going to go and grab this opposite prong over here and try to pull it. See, just ever so slightly.
So you're working just a little.
You work a little and look a lot, and then you turn the ring, look and see how level the stone is. It's looking pretty level to me. And see how much that prong is just barely over. This guy's just barely over.
Yes.
So now look, whichever is the highest, wherever the stone needs to go down the most, wherever it's setting up higher is where you want to go to next between these two stones. If you need to, you can, maybe move it, but this guy's seated pretty good already. It looks fairly level, so I'm going to work this one first. I'm going to spin it back around here for my left-handedness and so you guys can see.
So you're kind of going back and forth across the stone, opposite prong to opposite prong?
Opposite prongs, yeah.
Like an X?
Yes.
Okay.
A and opposite, and then do the opposite again. And then look as you go. I'm looking a lot. If you guys are seeing, I'm looking at the ring and making sure. So now this will be the third prong. You're holding the back of this guy with the plier, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm moving this one over just ever so slightly. And holding the back with the plier keeps it from pushing that one out, right?
That makes sense, yes.
So then I'm looking, it's pretty level. So we're gonna do the opposite of the last prong. And just a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Can you still see, am I covering it up?
No, you got it.
Okay, so then I'm gonna pull this guy down just a touch, right? Now see how much you've moved the prongs? Not very much. But you can see if your stone's, sorry, Andrew, if your stone's level to the prongs, and you can kind of see how much we've moved them, which is not much at all. This guy's seated very well. We kind of pre-picked it, right? Mm-hmm. So we knew it was gonna set nice in the ring.
We inspected well.
We did some inspection.
Mm-hmm. So you've kind of basically you've started seating your stone, right?
Setting. The seats were already cut.
Oh, okay. So the seating is, let's just clarify, the seating is where the cuts in the prongs.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're setting.
Now we're
where
setting.
You seated it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know.
We did the seats in the rest.
There's a lot of technical language here.
I'm gonna show.
Yeah.
Put this guy up. If Andrew if I can hold it where you can see, maybe, and see through there. Can you see the seats kind of cut into the prong?
Oh yeah.
Ever so slightly. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's kind of, they're already there, right?
Right.
Right. And that, as a not having the tools, the burrs and the flex shafts to cut the seats, we pre-notched them for you. That's kind of the whole deal we had to work around. So the seat part's already done for this project. We're just spinning the prongs.
Yeah. And one thing that's, I think, kind of important for all of my beginner setters to know is that pre-notch settings are available on the market.
Yes.
You can actually purchase pre-notch settings. So if you never get past the pre-notched, stage, they're out there.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the pre-notch is a great guide. Even with all these custom pieces I do in-house and the designs and the CADs, I usually put ever so slightly notch around where the girdle would be perfectly level. Just as a guide, it's great for jewelers to have that, even though you've got to count and adjust for pavilions, differences in tables and girdles and all that, but it's a nice guide to have that, a little bit of a notch just as a guide, not a whole cutout, but a slight notch.
Right. Speaking of settings and custom jewelry, before we bend these prongs down the rest of the way, I really want to just toot your horn just a little bit, because you are a custom jeweler, and primarily what you love to do is make custom pieces for people, meaning like, hey, I've got this stone, I want to make this amazing piece of jewelry. And so you've done everything from cutting these pieces of jewelry out of wax and designing them from, a sketch, to starting with your sketch and going into the CAD, the computer-aided design machine, which is something that is kind of really sped up your ability to make jewelry, which is the only reason we were able to start Artisan of the South, correct?
Right.
So your Artisan of the South, Tony Thompson, has actually created a piece of jewelry, and he brought it with
I did. We finished it up yesterday, so I just thought it would be a great one to show some of the talents.
Yeah. So this is your future, stone setters. Bring it out here. I have to put it on. Talk them through it first, and then I'll put it on.
All right. So this is
the box.
This is a natural yellow sapphire, no treatments, and it's in 18 karat white gold with, I believe, with 144 diamonds around it.
Is that all? You could only fit 144 diamonds in there?
The jewelers, my setter, he is amazing. And he loves it when we.
You're like, I've designed this ring. It's got 144 diamonds. You okay with that? He's like, great.
But that's one, you know, I designed that guy in house, and made it.
It's kind of dwarfing my engagement ring. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's too bad.
But yeah, I mean, the present, you know, I almost need to, let me take that off just for a second, just so you guys can see the presence of that particular. So that's a natural sapphire. And
sapphire?
This is where you could go with your stone setting, because that center stone is set.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is set.
As are all 144 diamonds in the piece. But you know, so you are getting a custom design in this particular setting that you made.
Yes.
But I just kind of want you guys to understand the level of expertise we have sitting next to me today, right now. Pretty amazing. How many prongs? Is there just 4 prongs, or is there 6?
There's 6 on the center stone.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Yes,
that's
really a good thing. So. All right, so let's. I don't get to keep this because that's going to a customer, and that was not an inexpensive stone in there, from what I understand. That natural sapphire.
No, that's a fairly expensive piece.
I mean, fairly expensive, like a few $100s, or fairly expensive, like a few $1,000s. I mean, where are we? Are we above 50,000 on this stone?
We're above 50,000.
They let him touch them. Yes, they let him hold those stones.
That's to make sure I have it back.
Yeah.
Make sure it's still in place.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Pretty. I mean. So anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep rolling with our setting. It's just so you can kind of see that this can go to a lot of different places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is just the beginning for you.
So we're back to slowly setting our stone. So he's fairly level. And I would look and see which prong is the furthest up, but as long as we go slowly. So I'm going to do the same direction. I'll turn him to this one. And I'm still holding the back side and pulling it down. I see I'm kind of doing this with the top, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'll rotate and get this side and do the same thing. And then look through the stone across the top and through the prongs and see that you're still level. And then I'll come and get the opposite side, the third one, pull it down slightly more, and then rotate, and it's still nice and level. Who made those seats?
It's the expert jeweler.
Now see how far it's pulled down now? Mm-hmm. You get to a point where you need to kind of go from top to bottom. Okay. Right, instead of pulling across.
So, and I think it's interesting that you started with a technique where you're kind of working from the side of the prongs, which is I mean, I'm learning something, and then you're going to the top to bottom.
Top to bottom, yeah. From the side, you get a lot more leverage pulling it across, and then once you get it bent over some, you can easily squish it down. It's already in that motion to bend over that direction.
You kind of giving it some muscle memory.
Yeah, yes. You get it in there, going in the right direction. If you try to just squeeze from top to bottom to start out, it may not want to go that direction. You may decide to go left, right, or backwards.
Or it could just pop right out of there. And, yes, right. Which is why you work a little and look a lot.
Yes.
Yes. I'm learning.
Okay, so I'm going to stick with the chain nose pliers you guys will probably have, right? Mm-hmm. So now we're going to look through this guy again, make sure we're level. And then we're going to go down and see, I've kind of got my hand down here too to kind of help, my thumb to kind of help. And I'm going to just roll this guy over just a little. They're pretty stout. I'm not sure you're going to be able to push it over much more than what we have on some of these. See how that one went on over? Mm-hmm. I'll go back to this first one and
give it a little more muscle.
Get a little more muscle on it.
So you're just bringing it down just to touch the top of the stone, basically?
Almost to touch the top, the crown angle,
gotcha.
right?
Oh, gotcha.
You're trying to come down against the crown is what you're trying to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to come back and work this third one again.
Okay.
right?
Yes.
See how that guy
Yes.
went over?
Mm-hmm.
And then the only one we have up now is this guy here. This one. So I'm gonna try to, I like to, I know that it's probably not working for your viewing, but for me, I can see through the prong and the stone. So you can see what you're closing down to, and you just roll it over. So something like that is what you're looking for. If I could hold it still for Andrew.
No, I was intently looking because we have the screen that you guys have as well. Like we can actually see that screen. And so what I was looking at when they just came to me was I was looking at the screens that you guys are seeing, and it was pretty obvious to me what you did. I mean, yeah, I could really see, and I was completely mesmerized.
Well, that's good. I hope you guys can
I think that, even as somebody who has done this before, I just learned about 50 things from you.
Did you?
So if you've never set a stone before, I have a feeling you learned about 100. So you see what I'm saying? I think that was really informative, and I think it makes a big difference if you do this right, and learning how to do it right, even just with a pre-notch setting that was kind of already started for you, is going to make a big difference in you guys going forward as stone setters.
And feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst thing is when you start to push those prongs over and you just take one all the way down.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then, the metal's forgiving to some extent, but once it goes all the way down, you have to pull it back up. Usually it's going to start to crack, and it's not going to like to go all the way down and back up and back down again.
Well, one thing I always say, because I'm a wire worker generally speaking, and so but I work with metal a lot, and I always say metal has memory, and once it goes one place, it always wants to go back in that same place.
Yes.
Always. And so I would say you have to be the boss of your wire, or else the wire will be the boss of you. And I would say you probably have to be the boss of the prong too. You know? Right. I mean, do you have to be the boss of the prong?
You have to be the boss of the prong.
Okay. So be the boss.
Gently be the boss of the prong.
Yes.
Right.
Very gentle force. Yes. Lovingly.
Just think about having an HR department when you're working on a prong. Wait.
Okay, I don't really know about that. But anyway, that's super cool. Now, if you guys are wondering, let's kind of show this little piece all together. If you're kind of wondering what it looks like all finished up. So you had that beautiful setting that Tony built for you. And I love that you kind of gave it a lot of presence, and you didn't just do smooth, you kind of gave it some character on the sides there with the little grooves. So, I think it's not a beginner setting. It really does look like something kind of special because you give it a little pizzazz. And then there's the top, and you can see after you set those. Another thing I think you probably need to pay a little bit of attention to is kind of where the prongs are on the stone.
You do. They need to be, sometimes they may come down and those are pretty much where they should be, I think, best I can tell.
No, they look pretty level, but if you kind of get off to the side, it can look a little...
Yeah, they could turn, one could be pointed out at, off of it, instead of pointing toward the center stone. If it's going toward the 2 o'clock position, you need to kind of take and bend them back.
And so, you can kind of inspect here from the sides and look, gosh, is one prong bent down a little more than the other one, or did I leave one sticking up?
Right.
Anything like that, you're going to tour that. I love how you've left the basket kind of open on the sides, and also given them a little peephole in the bottom. I always call that a peephole, so that the light shines through the stone as well. Sign of a beautiful, professionally made setting. Right? It's a beautiful piece. And so then, let's see what size this one is. And it's that size right there. So pop that on your finger and, wear that with pride. And when people ask you where you got that ring, you say, oh, well, I set the stone, or, I made this. Yes. And they're going to be like, really? They didn't know that it was already kind of pre-notched. It's kind of like I always say when people make their first piece of jewelry, and their first piece of jewelry was putting a pendant on a piece of chain and adding a clasp or something like that. Right. You still assembled the piece of jewelry. You still made it, and that's a lot. So you've got lots of different colors of stones in your set there. You have the peridot, which is a beautiful birthstone, generally the birthstone for October. You've got a garnet, which is your birthstone for January, an amethyst, which is your obviously your February birthstone, and then the citrine, which is great for November, and then the blue topaz is perfect for December, even though it's really zircon is really the birthstone. But I mean,
You got the color displayed.
it works, you know.
Yes.
So I like it. Or you could also kind of fudge it for March aquamarine if you wanted to. So a lot of people use those stones interchangeably for birthstones. So really kind of a cool assortment of stones and a fun technique that we just learned.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so here are a couple examples of the finished piece here. And Tony, you were going to go back through just what we used, what's included in the stone set, and also the ring, and then the pliers you used. So,
Yeah, so you guys are going to get, for this kit, you'll get the ring, right? Oval mounting, sterling silver, preset, pre-notched, ready to set your oval stone. You're going to get a set of 5 oval stones. These guys here. You get a citrine, a blue topaz, a garnet, a peridot, and an amethyst. And the tool pretty much is very simple. We use a pair of chain nose pliers, and that's really all you need.
I didn't see you pick up anything else.
No, that's it.
But you used your eyes.
Use your eyes and make sure that you, adjust and set, and then kind of pick the right stone for the setting, because you got to pick the stone to fit the setting to make this really a workable piece. And I think with the 5 stone options, you should be able to find one that
For sure.
great.
Yeah. And so let's just remind them what you're saying is work how much?
Work a little and look a lot.
Right. Yeah, and listen, there's lots of other JTB experience classes that we'd love for you guys to see. Like I said, I did several. I've done 3 other ones besides this one that are out there for you guys. Plus Katie Smith has done several classes. I believe she's done 4. Laura Graham, I believe, has done at least 3 classes, and I know Wyatt White is going to do some classes. So there's lots and lots to learn here at Jewel School. It's the 2024 Jewel School Experience.
Yes.
Yes. And
stuff.
I would love it if you teach another class. Yeah, I would. I don't know what in, but something cool.
Something cool.
Yeah, okay?
Okay, maybe.
All right, think about
For
it.
this year or
Maybe next year. 2025. Tony Thompson coming your way. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you, guys.
have a fantastic afternoon. I hope you guys learned a lot, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.